Well, hello, folks. We're down here at the river again. It's been quite a while since I've been here. We were in Europe for 3 weeks for one of our big vacations. So returned healthy, semi-rested. A lot of walking around, but time to get back to work. All right, so I'm here in this disaster area still, and it's not going to get done until I do it. So come on, Parker, get to work. So I'll be here for 4 days. Yesterday I spent doing yard work because we were gone for so long and there was just a lot of stuff to take care of. So the goal for this week is to get all this structure done and get it inspected. So today I'm going to focus on getting this wall removed. Take out this rim joist and sill. Pour in some concrete, some of the cells, and put in bolts and get that curing overnight. There's water underneath that part of the bath or the closet. Just FYI, there's also water, tons of water underneath that floor there and in that other floor over there. This is dry, thank goodness, so I can work in there. After I do that guy, then I've got the short task of jacking up this joist and sticking in some insulation under there, some foam to prevent moisture from coming up through the bricks into the wood. This is not pressure treated sill right here. And then I'll bolt that down, and then those two boards I'll lay against that joist and secure those in place. So that structure will be done. Then mounting these L brackets on the side of the chimney. The strategy will be to epoxy them in place and then drill, because the drill is going to wander, and I want to kind of force it into the right location. So I'm just going to epoxy those guys in place and hope that holds just while I'm drilling. And then Simpson Titan bolts go in to hold that. There's 4 on each L bracket. Then I need to figure out if I need to do any additional pressure plumbing under here. I'm not sure I need to. I can address that when I raise that kitchen floor, because it's mostly under the kitchen floor. But some plumbing needs to go through one of these bays and begin to go up the wall on the outside. So I'll address that. This job here is probably only a couple hours long. Putting these guys in is probably half a day. And then I got to let that epoxy cure and drill the holes, bolt that together, and then start laying. And while that epoxy's curing, I can lay some of these joists in here. I can clean up the debris in here, lay joists, and yeah. Then when the epoxy's cured, then I can finish all the joists going across, put in the post, put knees around the post, and secure all that. Yeah, and that's it.
I got that part torn apart. I've ordered a new vent to go in there. Should come tomorrow. There was still some termite damage here. So I'm going to tear apart this part all along here for about 6 feet and see how far that termite damage continues. I can jack the house up from below, aside from the water that's over in this region in here. I could conceivably eventually replace all of the band boards outside and the sill plates just by jacking up the house 1/8 of an inch, each wall, and then prying out the wood, putting in a new piece of wood. And it's possible. It's a pain in the rear, but you know what, while I'm at it, it'll make the house last for a very long time. So I'm going to see how long this termite damage goes and see what to do. All right, so after tearing off some of this sheathing, this area right here actually looks really good, but to the right has some termite damage, and to the left has lots of termite damage going down. So number one, this stuff is dry as a bone, so there's no active termites here. The sill plate, and actually the sill plate going down that way actually looked pretty good also. It actually didn't have any termites in it, the sill plate. This sill plate here does look like it's got some termite damage, but over here it doesn't. And now, of course, termites will stop short of the surface of the wood, usually. But in this case, there's a little bit of a ledge here, and they still ate to the surface. So, anyway. So because this is dry as a bone, and I'm going to be sealing it up, and I'm going to be jacking up the joist a little bit so I can shove some foam under here. Not spray foam, but, foam that's meant to go under a sill plate. Roll foam. I'm going to cut the band joist here and the sill there, and I'm going to replace all that with pressure treated, and this with pressure treated. This joist right here is going to remain, and so is that one, and the one down there at the end of this hole, that remains. So I'll remove the nails here and cut a cut down the middle of the joist, the band board here, and then pry it out. Cut here, take out the sill, and then I'll pour a couple cells worth of concrete in here with bolts, and I'm gonna maybe call that a day, because I can't do anything with the bolts until they harden. So anyway, we'll see how that goes. right, so I got the concrete set into the cells. The cells without bolts are I just used up the extra concrete. Got 3 bolts for 1, 2, and then I set that one last time for an 8-foot seal. And then I've got this new seal. It's got 2 bolts in it. Yeah. And so these are pressure treated seals. So in this case, I don't feel so bad. I didn't put a foam pad under it because I've got these existing joists here that are pressing down. I didn't want to risk just screwing it up and not doing a good job. So it's pressure treated. The non-pressure treated sills that I pulled up didn't show any water damage or rot or anything like that underneath. You couldn't even see where the cells were. So I'm confident that these aren't going to rot based on moisture. So yeah, so next step is to clean this crap up and start cleaning out the debris from the crawl space. Tomorrow, I'm supposed to receive another vent here. I'll put that in and then put the sill plate down, put in band boards, and then start putting in joists. Yeah, I can't put in joists until I can't put in joists until I put in the brackets. But that'll be tomorrow, hopefully. All right, so last night I had an aha moment that I forgot to consider the toilet drain. The toilet drain needs to slide that way, at least an inch or 2 to be 15 inches from the finished wall. So, which means I have to cut and refit this structure here and the vent. This vent can't be here because that's where the electrical panel goes. So the vent is going to move to the wall of the bathroom facing the river. And so I've got to lay out on the floor. I got to suspend, plywood, put some plywood here so that I can exactly measure where the ends of the beams are. That dictates where the wall goes, or the wall bumps out a little bit if the ends of the beams are too far toward the street, etc. So I got to do some lofting. So to measure where the base of the post sits on the floor near the bathroom, I've got a plumb bob, a makeshift plumb bob hanging from the center of the beam going toward the street, and 3/16 over from the center line of this beam, which is the width of the webbing, the thickness of the webbing. And then so this goes down to my makeshift plumb bob, which is a needle file, and the beam is 16 feet 1 1/4 long. So that's going over there. All right, folks, I think I've drawn out
or lofted all of this floor area here for the bathroom and the structure and the post, center post. So this is where the center post stands to go to the ridge beam for the roof. This rectangle here represents the base of the post that supports one of the beams going toward the street. And because I'm going to keep this right hand edge of the wall and carry it over, and then based on where the post goes, that means this wall right here is basically going to be a 2x8 wall, which is fine because it only goes from here to the door, or a little shy of the door. So we'll have a little bump out there. That's fine. The vent for the toilet is going to come up there in this area where it came up before, because that's really the only, I can either put it there or I could put it in this wall right here. I can't put it along this wall because the 2x8 that the posts are resting on is going under here, so I can't interrupt that beam. Toilet flange is located there, which is 12.5 inches. It's only required to be 12, but I made it 12.5 inches to account for some error in the wall sheathing here. And then I made it 16 inches from this finished surface, just to give a little bit of extra room. Again, for error. I'm going to have to locate this off of this joist here and a mark I put on the joist. So I have to replumb that. I guess I'll do that today. So this is a 2x8 wall, and this will be a 2x6 wall because this post is 5.25. So this ends up being a 2x4 wall. This is a 2x8 wall, and then there's a little strip of 2x6 wall that goes from the end, this side of the post, over to somewhere in this region, just to encompass this ridge beam post. All right, folks. So I got the sill plate and the rim joist in. Squirt stuff with great stuff and put in a new vent just to have something a little more functional. And yeah, so I screwed everything together, and now it's time for plumbing. I've been trying to procrastinate on this as long as I possibly could, but that's really the next thing I have to do. So this drain for the toilet, after I did my lofting, the drain, that's the center line of the new drain location. Shift it over. And so, however, this needs to go over that way about toward the street about 2 or 3 inches. And there's just not enough flex here in the system. This is the drain for this, for the vanity right here. And it goes through a joist, so it can't flex this way much. And of course it can't move this way much. So in order for me to push this guy over, I'm going to need to cut a section out of here and put a junction in. So that's what I'm going to try now. All right, so with the main pipe here in a position from the joist that I want it vertically, or spaced off horizontally using a vertical reference, we got about an inch and a quarter pipe difference, so I'm going to go ahead and cut that and glue that up. All right, I finally got the toilet drain plumbed in. Everything lined up where I wanted it to go, except the it's a half an inch too far or closer that way than I intended. But that's why I added an inch of slack. So now it'll be 15 and a half inches from the wall, which is within code. So I'm happy about that. Next, I need to tackle the pressure plumbing that goes under. I'm just going to run empty lines that go under in that bay and then pop up so that we have pressure lines that lead into this space right here, because I'm going to be tearing the rest of this floor up later. But I want to be able to insulate that bay. And so with the pressure lines there, then the inspector can see how they come out of the insulation and across. So before I put the plywood down after that insulation inspection. So